is Yoan and welcome. Today I would love to share this simple toddler quilt project with you. The finished measurement of this quilt is about 42 inches wide by 54.5 inch long. This is a relatively easy quilt that you can make for your child or grandchild or nephew or niece, or perhaps you got an invitation to go for baby shower. You want to make something that is special but it's not gonna take so much time or breaking the bank. I made this particularly for my 2-year-old little man who just been transitioned from sleeping in the crib to sleeping in the big boy bed, and this is just a great size for it. Although this pattern can also make a great lap quilt, so you don't have to make this into a juvenile theme. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comment section down below. And without further ado, let's get started. So here's the layout for this quilt. As you can see, I also included the yardage requirement for the quilt top and the cutting measurements as well. So you can go ahead and screenshot this, or you can also hop over to my blog. It should be there as well. So these are my fabric A, B, and C. So fabric A and B will be the highlight of the quilt. So choose the fabric that's going to be the main theme or the main color for your quilt. In this case, I chose this cute construction vehicle theme fabric from Yoan, since this is what my son currently interested in. For fabric D, you will need about 3/8 of a yard of fabric. Fold your fabric lengthwise. So you want to meet the selvage ends, make sure they are aligned. And then from the fold line, you're going to measure 21 inches and cut. So now you have a 42 inches wide fabric. Now rotate your fabric just like that. Now the fold line should be at the bottom. Align the fold line and the top edges of the fabric with the line of the cutting mat. Now you want to trim off the edges first here, just about 1/2 inch, just so you get nice and clean edges. And once you've done that, measure 8 inches and cut. And then you want to go ahead and measure another 8 inches and cut. So now you've got 2 strips of fabric measuring 42 by 8 inches. And you want to do exactly the same for fabric B. From the fabric C, you will need to cut 4 strips measuring 42 inches by 4 inches. And from the fabric D, you will need to cut 5 strips measuring 42 inches by 2.5 inches. Alright, so here I've got all of my strips already cut. And of course, now we're going to arrange the strips according to the layout. And then I'm going to stack them starting from the very top strips all the way down to the bottom. Now I'm going to start sewing these strips together. So starting from the first and the second strips, I'm going to lay them right side together. And then I'm going to pin right on the center. So there should be center fold creases there, and I'm going to match them. And I'm going to place a couple of pins on both side edges. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And when you're sewing, make sure that you're not pulling or stretching your strips. Once you've done sewing, you want to finger press this a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew the third strip pretty much the same way. So I'm going to place a few pins and then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Then I'm going to finger press this a little bit. For the next strip, I'm going to change the direction of my sewing. So previously I sew with the strip facing on top, just like that. Now I'm going to turn my fabric to the opposite direction. So now I have the fabric on top and the strip at the bottom. So you want to change the sewing direction every 2 or 3 rows. This will prevent the fabric from curving towards one side. And here I've got my strips already sewn together. Once you've done sewing your strips together, go ahead and trim off the sides a little bit. Make sure that they are nice and straight. Layer the quilt top with the quilt batting and the quilt backing. So here I've got mine already sandwiched. I'm using minky fabric for my backing. It's really soft and perfect for children. So I'm going to base this with the basting spray. First I'm going to remove my quilt batting and the quilt top halfway, just like that. And then I'm gonna spray my spray basting just a little bit, not too much. Then I'm gonna put the quilt batting back, smooth everything out, and then I'm gonna iron a little bit with dry iron on low heat. Then I spray base on the quilt batting and then put the quilt top back, smooth everything out, and iron this as well. And I'm gonna do the same with the other half of the quilt. Now it's time to do the quilting. So go ahead and have fun. Do whatever quilting method that you like. You can do walking foot, free motion, or hand quilting. For this quilt, I did the free motion quilting with stippling design, really simple, rather really quick. I wasn't sure initially since I'm using minky fabric and I've never worked with one before for free motion quilting, but it turned out alright. I didn't change any setting, only just a little slower speed than usual. Once you've done quilting, go ahead and trim off the excess batting and backing. This is also a great way to again straighten up your quilt. And once you've done that, go ahead and bind your quilt with whatever method that you prefer. And for this quilt, if you're making your own binding strips, you will need 6 strips. So I used the same fabric as fabric C for my binding strips. Of course, you can use any fabric that you like. And I finished my binding with slip stitches. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this video served you well, and thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time with another fun sewing and quilting project. Goodbye!